There is a lie sitting on Sybil Van Antwerp's desk. It's the day after her 73rd birthday. She's sitting in her home in Annapolis, Maryland, with her tea and her fountain pen, doing what she does every single morning at 10:30, writing a letter. This one is to her brother, Felix, in France. In the letter, she tells him she had a minor little scrape with her car. Nothing to worry about. Just a scratched bumper. But that is not what happened. What actually happened is that Sybil, a retired law clerk, a woman of razor-sharp intellect and terrifyingly good manners, drove her car into a ditch because she is going blind. Her vision is clouding over. The edges of her world are blurring, and she is terrified that if she tells anyone the truth, her children will pack her off to a facility with beige walls and bingo nights. So, she builds a fortress out of paper. This is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans, and it is a masterclass in how to hide a breaking heart behind a perfectly composed sentence. If you are looking for a high-octane thriller, turn this video off right now. But if you want a book that feels like you are secretly reading someone's private mail while sipping gin in a dusty library, stay with me. This is a story about the lies we tell to maintain our dignity, and the letters we write when we can't bear to say the words out loud. Sybil Van Antwerp is not a sweet old lady. She is prickly. She is opinionated. She's the kind of woman who writes letters to the president of the local university, demanding to audit a class he won't let her into, dissecting his logic with the precision of the lawyer she used to work for. She writes to everyone. She writes to her daughter Fiona, a high-powered architect in Australia, breezily dismissing concerns about her health. She writes to her son Colt. She even writes fan mail. But not your typical, I love you fan mail. She writes to Joan Didion and Larry McMurtry, critiquing their latest books, treating these literary giants as if they were peers sitting in her living room. But here is where the texture of the book gets interesting. Evans doesn't just give us Sybil's output. She gives us the incoming fire too. Because while Sybil is trying to curate this elegant epistolary life, the messy, ugly real world is clawing at the door. She starts receiving letters from a man named Desi Martinelli. Desi isn't a pen pal. He's the son of a man whom Sybil and her boss, Judge Guy Donnelly, sent to prison years ago. Desi calls her a cold metal bitch. He threatens to tear down her garden. He is the ghost of her professional past, coming back to haunt her just as her physical sight is failing. And then there's the technology. There is a deeply human, strangely touching subplot involving a DNA testing service called the Kindred Project. Sybil, who was adopted and secretly fantasized her whole life that her birth mother was Mary Poppins, finally takes the test. But she doesn't just get a sterile report. She ends up on the phone with a customer service rep named Bassam, a Syrian refugee. The contrast here is brilliant. You have Sybil, this wealthy, established American woman fretting over her lineage, connecting with Bassam, a man who has lost his entire country. Their conversations, transcribed in the book, become this unexpected anchor of warmth in a sea of Sybil's defensiveness. But the real juice of this novel, the thing that will make your chest ache, is the silence at the center of the noise. For 30 years, Sybil has been carrying a rock in her chest regarding her son, Gilbert. Gilbert died when he was 8 years old. He jumped off a boulder into a lake and broke his neck. For decades, Sybil has told herself a version of this story that allows her to sleep at night. But as her blindness forces her to slow down, and as Desi's threats force her to reckon with guilt, the true memory surfaces. It wasn't just an accident. It was a moment of negligence. She remembers ignoring him right before he jumped. She remembers the irritation she felt, the distraction. There's a letter she eventually writes, late in the book, where she finally admits this to her daughter. She writes about the terror of being a bad mother, about the specific, jagged guilt of having been annoyed with a child minutes before losing him forever. It is devastating. It is the kind of writing that makes you put the book down and stare out the window for 10 minutes. So, let's critique the execution. What Virginia Evans gets right is the voice. Writing an epistolary novel is dangerous. It often feels fake, like the author is just chopping up a normal chapter and putting Dear Diary at the top. But Evans nails the distinct cadence of written communication. Sybil's letters sound different from her emails. Her letters to the judge are formal and heavy with subtext. Her letters to her friend Rosalie are gossipy and vulnerable. You feel the difference between the ink and the cursor. The atmosphere is also superb. You feel the claustrophobia of Sybil's failing eyes. You feel the shrinking boundaries of her world, which makes the arrival of every letter feel like a thunderclap. However, the book isn't perfect. Because we are limited to letters, there are moments where the plot feels slightly contrived. Characters sometimes have to write things down that they would realistically just say on the phone, or the pacing drags in the middle as we wait for the mail to arrive. If you are a reader who needs constant active scenes, the middle section might feel a bit like waiting for a slow postman. Also, the stalker plotline with Desi Martinelli resolves in a way that feels a little too neat, a little too therapeutic given the vitriol of his opening letters. It's a small stumble in an otherwise graceful dance. The verdict? It is for anyone who loves difficult women, who understands that stubbornness is often just a shield for terror, and who believes that a handwritten letter is still the most powerful weapon we have against the passage of time. It is a quiet book, but it is a loud life. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that subscribe button. I dissect the best literary fiction every week, so you don't have to guess what's worth your time.